Hi everyone. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. You're welcome to Recruiter's Confession. Welcome to this wonderful session that we've started since last year. If you are joining us, I say good morning. How was your week? I hope you had a very stress-free week and it wasn't as stressful as mine. And I hope you are doing well this wonderful Saturday. Thank God today is not as hot as last week. Last week Saturday was really hot, but today is mild, I think. And we are definitely we've been we've been doing this Q&A session since the beginning of February, and then we are stretching it to March because of course would always have questions to answer as recruiters. And of course, even as job seekers, we would always have questions to ask, right? There will always be something that comes up or a new experience that somebody would just want to ask, right? So that's why we are stretching this till the end of March. So for the whole of March, today is like practically the last day, right? So for the whole of March, we'll be having a Q&A session, and there's important information that I want to drop. I'm going to drop it at the end of this session. It's going to be a very important information. And then we would definitely be trying our best, right? To, in fact, two news. I think I have two news to share at the end of this session. So maybe someone should remind me. There are two things I have to share at the end of the session. So we'll be stretching this month with questions and answers for every session we have. So remember, this is Recruiter's Confession. It's nothing structured. We're not having anything structured. It's just a conversation, right? And that's why it is termed confession. Doesn't have to be, it's not strict, it's not tailored, it's not scripted, right? Questions and conversations can come in. So if you're joining us, you can start dropping your questions, start telling us about your experiences over the week, over the months, over last year. And something must have happened that is just boiling inside of you, and you just feel like, no, I have to ask these questions. I have a list of questions here, of course, that job seekers have asked me, and of course I feel like, yes, I must put it out here, at least for people to learn as well. And we have a wonderful guest in our midst today. I have my friend, my colleague, Naomi. Naomi is joining us today. She's also a recruiter as well, and she'll be joining us, in answering questions, in asking questions as well. Hi, Naomi. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jen.
Hi, Naomi. Thank you for joining. I think it was like this, literally this morning. I had to ask her to join me on this session. It was really, it was really like on chokehold. Thank you so much, Naomi, for taking the time. I know you are definitely busy and you have a lot on your plate, but taking the time this morning, at least it's Saturday and we all need to rest, right? So thank you so much for taking the time. How is our Saturday going, first of all? I hope you are cooking your rice. I hope you are like getting ready to sleep today. Please take time to rest, especially if you're working, even if you're job searching, take time to rest. Job searching is a full-time job. I think I saw it on LinkedIn one day. Someone was saying job searching is a full-time job. So Naomi will be joining us and we'll be asking questions, we'll be answering questions, we'll be throwing questions, we'll be adding a little bit of humor, a little bit of conversation like questions, right? So let's get started. To I have a list of questions here that I've written down. Let's get started. So, what do recruiters look for? Basically, what do recruiters look for in interviews? So there are so many things recruiters look for, but then this person is asking in interviews because basically we have different stages of job application. There is the you applying, I mean, of the hiring process now. If you're a job seeker here, you're listening to me, we have different stages of um, the hiring process. Depends on each company. Some companies or some organizations, theirs is three stages. Some organizations just two stages. Some just one. Let me interview you, and you join me if you want. If you are not fit, I let you know, that kind of thing. And some organizations, they do four four stages of interview. Some organizations do five stages. You meet with panel of justice. You meet with head of head of department. You will meet with CEO. You meet with CFO. You meet with hiring manager. You meet with HR before you will now meet with the board members. So um it's kind of really funny when you have when we have different stages of interviews like that. I don't know if Naomi has experienced. Naomi, have you experienced such stages of interview where you have long stages? Maybe you applied and then there is like you have a whole list of stages. And funny enough, they may not even tell you. That's another thing. And I feel like recruiters need to improve on this, right? Immediately candidates apply for jobs, let us try to always tell them, to be transparent to them. These are the stages that you go through. This is the hiring process. This is how it looks like. Let them know all of it. If they can't go through it, that's fine. If they need to drop off, that's fine. If they are fine with it, that's okay. It's not like you won't tell them, you just put them in that position where they just keep expecting that, okay, what would be the next stage? Naomi, have you gone through that process before? Have you been in that situation before?
Yes, I have. I have experienced it with a multinational. Now they have a
No.
branch.
You're the
The
one that used to
headquarters
do
is in
that.
Lagos. The headquarters is in Lagos, and the person went through four stages in
Oh
Lagos
my
alone.
god.
Oh. After that, the person had to meet with the head of marketing in Kenya,
Hmm.
which is five stages.
That's like five stages.
Yes, five.
But then what would be your, like, should I say, your thoughts about this when it comes to rigorous and long hiring process? What's your thoughts, your own perspective about it?
To me, I feel most cases it is unnecessary. Three stages okay. Three is okay. Sometimes two, because in fact, the second stage you already know you are going to work with this person. Second stage
Yes,
just says you know, okay, this is the person that you are going to pick. This candidate is the right fit. So why are you stretching it? Most times the candidates will get tired. They'll be demotivated. So to me, I
there is a
just
lot
feel
of
it is unnecessary.
it is, to be honest, for especially from a job seeker's perspective, right? Because we are actually speaking from job seeking perspective now. If you apply for a job and there's a lot of stages involved, how do you think you are going to feel?
I'll be tired. I'll be tired. I'll be very, very tired. I'll might be like, okay, why are we going through all of this?
Just
When
let me know already if you're hiring me or not.
exactly.
Let me know already. And funny enough, I think the worst part of it is when you've gone through, maybe there's like a five stage where you've gone through the first three successfully. You now have like the fourth stage. They now tell you that they can't hire you.
That's painful. That's very, very, very painful. Because
To be
going through
honest,
first,
it's not
second,
right. And
third, you might even have be you might be positive that okay, this one that I am going through first, second, third, fourth stage, that
mm,
oh, I think they are going to give me the
exactly,
job. But then when you don't get the job, that's very
exactly,
heartbreaking.
very heartbreaking. Exactly. And to be honest, I think I need to put it out there. I'm laughing because that since I've started talking about it, I was just laughing. I'm laughing because I know of an organization that does it where I worked, right? And funny enough, we just keep telling the employer that I can't be out there on LinkedIn talking about candidate experience, talking about employer branding, and then people will apply to where I work and they'll be going through the same process. The person that knew me from LinkedIn will not come and meet me that is it not you that is
Yeah, exactly,
is it not
exactly.
Jay that used to talk about this thing and now you are there like that kind of thing
It's
and
more like do what I say, but don't do
yeah,
what I do.
you do what I do. And to be honest, guys, if you're listening to this and you're a job seeker, sometimes employers are the ones that they weapon fashion against you. Let's just I think we should just I think it's safe to put it that way. Sometimes
Yeah.
employers are the one that they are the weapon fashion against you and us because we put it out there. You may not know, but we are there talking, we are there, trying to let them know that the process is rigorous, trying to let them know that this process is just it's not just work, it cannot work, it doesn't promote a good candidate experience, it doesn't promote employer branding. But then now somebody who is in charge of his business is the one in charge. He feels like he has the say to the business, and that is true, right? But what we do, even if we cannot win in that aspect, what we try as much as possible to do is to be transparent, right? So the transparency matters. Even if we know that we cannot fight with the employer on the process, the rigorous process, we just try from our own end to be transparent to job seekers and let you know that as you're coming in, you go through this, you go through this, you go through this, you go through this, and this is why you are doing it, right? So if at any point you want to drop off, fine. Nobody, I usually say this, nobody is using, see, in this job search organization corporate world, nobody is using rope to tie your neck and say you must walk somewhere. If you check yourself and you feel like, oh, okay, does my value align with this? Do my values align with this company? Am I fine with what they do here? Fine, go for it. But then if you think that, oh, what these people do here, I'm not sure I have, I'm not sure we align, then drop off, right? So that's why I tell candidates who ghost recruiters that what is your reason for ghosting recruiters? If you are not fine with the process anymore, if you need to drop off, you got another offer. Of course, nobody will hold your neck and say, hey, no, you must not go anywhere. No problem. Just let the recruiter know. Transparency and clarity works both ways. Let the recruiter know you're dropping off, you're not interested anymore, and we'll be fine. Right. So back to the question of um, what do recruiters look for in interviews. So I was explaining the stages, the hiring process, right? The first stage could be anything, the second stage could be anything, but particularly interviews. I don't know if Naomi has something to say regarding this. What do you think one as a recruiter you are looking for in a candidate? You can just mention one thing you are looking for in a candidate during interviews. During interview, like when you're interviewing a particular candidate, what do you look out for?
Okay, most times communication skills. Can this person sell his or herself? And sometimes experience also matters, especially if it is not an entry level role.
Oh, yeah.
Experience also matters.
Yeah. I think that communication works. That communication. So I have been seeing some things fly over the internet, and people say that, oh, it's not everybody that can talk. How did there was a place I saw it. The person put it. a type of way that I didn't like, that I didn't agree with. Let me not say I didn't like. I didn't agree with it. That was like, it's not everybody that can communicate during interview. If you can't communicate, how do we know? We can't know if you do not communicate it. Then you people will now come and say they rejected you. Why won't you fail the interview? You definitely fail the interview because you can't communicate your value. You can't communicate what you know or what you claim to know. How do we are not, we are humans, we are not which that will be able to say, this person is not talking, but he knows what he knows. And I just feel it that he knows. We don't base our judgment on feelings. We base our judgment on what we see, on what we're able to find out about you within that few seconds or few minutes, not seconds, few minutes. When we're able to speak with you, we're able to just see you and say, okay, I think this person has been able to communicate that he knows something. So communication is a very important skill that job seekers need to um, learn. So if you're a job seeker listening to this and you you don't know how to communicate, I think it's very key. Communication skills is a very key tool. It's a key soft skills that you need to learn during interview. Right? Let us know that you know. Tell us that you know. Tell us how you know. What are the steps you've taken in the past? What are some of the achievements you had in the past? And how can you do it this time? Basically, I think that's all. It's not, interviews are not like one big thing that is going to blow your head off. No, just communicate. If you're able to like communicate clearly, communicate your words clearly, communicate your value clearly, I think that is about it. What you know, what are your achievements in the past? How have you done it in the past? And what can you do now for us? Personalize it to the organization. What can you do now? So communication is really, really key. It's a key thing that interviewers are looking for. I agree with you, Naomi. I also agree with you on experience as well. There is no recruiter that is not looking for experienced person, especially if in the role they are looking for like experienced people. It is very important that you apply for your job, you have that experience, except if it is um internship and entry level. So for internship, if you're a job seeker here listening to me and you are an intern or you just transitioned into another career and you're an entry level um person or you're an entry level professional, right? We know if you apply for entry level roles, we know as recruiters. That's another thing I want you guys to know. We know as recruiters that you are an entry level. And of course, we are not expecting you to know A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z of a particular subject matter or of the role. We know that you may probably just know A, B, C, D, and we're okay with that. We're okay with training you. Hi, good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I think we'll probably be moving this. I don't know if you guys are fine with this 10 a.m. time, or we should probably move it up to maybe 10:30, 11, so that people, because I know by 10 a.m. some people may still be sleeping. Some people may still be sleeping by 10 a.m. So, moving on. So if you're a job seeker, some of the things that, so we are talking about um some things that in the interviewers look out for during interview. During interview, what do interviewers look out for during that stage of interview? Started interviewing you, and we have Naomi here. Naomi talked about um communication. Communication is really important. And we're talking about communication, how communication is a very key tool or key soft skills or soft skill for you to be able to communicate clearly, for you to use during interview. Right? So I don't believe in nobody can communicate. Not everybody can communicate. No, everybody must be able to. Evening, okay. So I don't know your name. Maybe you can drop your name. So I'm going to note that down. Say evenings are better, like Saturday evenings. I think evening everybody is more relaxed in the evenings, and I think maybe on Saturday mornings people are working, or I mean house chores now, or they are still sleeping. So evening people are more relaxed. That's okay, no problem. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put it out on LinkedIn, on my profile or on my page. I'm going to put out a poll where people can, you can choose your preferred time. So we'll work with people's preferred time because, of course, it's a recruiter's confession podcast, and we need people to actually join us to have conversation. It's a conversation um, session. It doesn't have to be structured, right? So we want to make sure that we align with people's time, and we have people on the podcast. We have people on podcast, people who can ask questions, who can, speak their minds and all of that. So thank you very much for that. We'll put that into consideration. All right then. So moving on, communication, very key, very key. I do not believe in we cannot communicate. Not everybody can communicate. Everybody should be able to communicate. Me, I don't know how to communicate. Recruiters should not use that as a leverage. They will, because they don't know. How can they know what you claim to know if you don't know how to communicate? So communication is a very um key skill that everybody needs to learn. Me too, I'm still learning it. I think I learned that later in life, that if you're unable to communicate, you will be taken for granted. Number one, you'll be misconstrued. Your words will be misconstrued. Number three, you could not be, you may not be um, taken seriously. People may not take you seriously because you don't know how to communicate. Then to be a case of and I know this thing, oh, I should have said it, or I know this, I should have put it better. People will pick people that do not know as much as you do. So seriously, guys, in life, I think people are more attracted to people who can communicate better, because people will not take you seriously. They will pick people that know little. People that do not know as much as you do, they will pick them over you. Why? Because they don't even know if you know. And that's why there is this fake it till you make it slang. There is this if you're confident, you'll be taken seriously. They will even take people who are confident seriously than people who are not. Even if that person doesn't know anything, people will just assume that, oh, this person is smart. He's the smartest person in the room. Why? Because of the confidence, because of the way the person, you know, speaks and communicates. So communication is one thing that you need to learn. There are different you can go on YouTube, you learn how to communicate. Just type communication on YouTube. There are different podcasts, there are different TED Talks. Listen to TED Talks, right? There are different TED Talks on communication. There are different podcasts on communication. There are different books on communication as well. Read books. There are different. I think there's a particular book, how to speak with anyone. How to speak with anyone. Go and find and read that book. So there are different communication books, right? There are different courses. You can go on LinkedIn and type communication. There are different courses on LinkedIn. That's if you apply for premium. I think their premium is maybe 12,000. There was a time I used to um pay for premium 12,000 naira. So you go on LinkedIn, you apply for courses on communication, you learn it, guys, learn it. And me too, as well. I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to communicate during interviews, or maybe even not during interviews. Communicate clearly and articulately to people. I think that is one skill. And we're talking about experience as well. Experience as well, especially when that role needs an experienced person. So how can you gain? I used to tell people that during the time, especially entry level, if you're an entry level here, you're listening to me, during the time where you are trying to, gain experience, try to also gain competence. Don't just use all your years without upskilling. Gain competence, be competent in your work, upskill. What are some of the extra tools that I need to learn in this thing? Those things are leverages. You can use those things to leverage during interview. You can speak about them, you can talk about them. When, for example, now maybe you are a data analyst, you learned Excel, on for data analyst now, I think Excel, Power BI, and SQL, those things are really important tools for Excel for data analyst. But you now go and learn Python, or you want to learn one language like that. So just to upskill, right? You can leverage that during interview and let them know that you've upskilled in this. That will be leverage. If me, I'm looking for a data analyst, and I have someone who has a leverage of knowing another tool that can actually, you know, benefit my organization. I can't leave that person for somebody who is just average in Excel or average in other tools. Right. So there's always a leverage that you can have during interviews. I'm already moving to another point though. I'm already moving to another point now. Like there's always a leverage that you can have during interview. So that's what recruiters look for. They look for problem solvers. That's another point. We talked about communication, we talked about experience. Now the third thing, they look for problem solvers. And that is why I said that you can always leverage somebody who can solve a problem. You don't have to be like everybody. I made an example of data analyst. So if you're a data analyst, you know that there are three tools that are common that data analysts must know how to do to use. And if you ask 80% of data analysts or people in data analysis, 80% of them have maybe Excel 6, maybe 6/10 Excel, SQL maybe 3 to 5/10, um Power BI maybe 3 to 5/10. You can decide to leverage on that and make your own Excel. Learn about Excel. There are different courses. Take those courses, learn about Excel. Take Power BI. Tell yourself, Power BI, I want to be 20/10. I want to be the best in this. Learn Power BI. Take your time to know it. Know SQL. If it is SQL you want to pick, know SQL, know it very well. Then use that as a leverage during interviews. When they ask you what tools can you use during interview, you tell them. I think I've had an interview. Um, we were interviewing for a data analyst at the time, and we asked the person, "What tools can you use?" He listed all the tools. Then we asked him to rate himself. The guy said 10. 10/10. I think it was Excel. He said he will rate himself 10/10 Excel. My hiring manager was like, "Really? Are you sure? 10/10?" I said, "Yes." That's because he knows what he knows, right? And at the time he asked him questions. He threw him some technical questions. And at the end of the interview, after interviews that hiring managers talk, at the end of the interview, he actually the hiring manager said yes, we are picking this person. Why? Because of that leverage. Because of that leverage. So let us move on to another question. Naomi, I don't know if you have questions for me from your end, because I know that you guys deal with job seekers a lot, and there are questions that you may want to, throw to us and we discuss from your end.
Yes, I do. I get asked this question regularly, almost every time, if the salary of a role is negotiable. Now, when we put out the JD, the salary is always attached to the JD rather. But
Yeah.
now during the interview, we tell you, okay, this is the salary, and you still ask, oh, is it negotiable? Most of them, when they even get to the employer, when they go to meet the employer, they will start saying, oh, they already know. In fact, you already told them about the salary, they agreed. They will tell the employer that no, this salary, I can't work with it, and it is something that really bothers me a lot.
I think that question, I think everybody. So I don't know where to start my thoughts from, because my thoughts are just all over the place on that particular topic. First off, let me pick from here. First off, my first thought, the thing that first comes to my mind is we are in Nigeria. This is Nigeria. Everybody needs money. Everybody needs money. And the funny thing is, even me as a recruiter, if I see a job ad and I see, oh, a particular amount that I could bend for, but at the same time I feel like I can negotiate, I would apply. I would apply with that mindset of I'll still negotiate higher. Naomi, I think you can agree with me that we usually have that as, I think as Nigerians, maybe because of our environment, the fact that we all need money. I don't know if you agree
I
with me.
actually agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Everybody needs money. But now, the first stage, you were told, okay, this is what we are offering. You were told, no, the company cannot go higher than that. You will say, okay, no problem, no problem, it's fine.
I'm
You want
feeling
it, you can work
okay.
with it. Then when you meet the employer, you say, ah, sir, this salary, I cannot work with it. Oh, now it is, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I agree with you as a recruiter from your end, considering the fact that you are recruiting for clients, right? So it happens in two ways. Recruiters, we have recruiters that are actually working in that particular organization, that are recruiting for the organization, and we have recruiters who outsource, right? So for you guys who are outsource, for recruiters who outsource to clients, I think that could be a very big challenge for you guys, considering the fact that you've already communicated that this is what this organization is offering, and the candidate says, we are all good, and then you deploy the candidates, and the candidates now go there and start fighting and start arguing with the employer. I think the first thing that comes to their mind is the fact that, oh, maybe this recruiter does not know anything. Yes, let me meet the person might be flexible enough. And it has happened. There are cases like that, right? There are cases like that, Naomi, where candidates actually go to, when we deploy candidates, right? We deploy the candidates to the employer, and they get there and they negotiate, and the employer offers them something higher. I think I've seen cases like that before. I was hiring for a particular client, and I told the candidate, the client is offering 250. I say, the candidate said, I'm good with 250. Oh. To be honest, 250 is fine with me. And I deployed the candidate only for him to go there and negotiate. He actually negotiated 300, and the employer agreed. Although he told me later that your candidate renegotiated, though. And I'm like, oh, why did you negotiate? Why did you not tell me at least from the beginning that you want to renegotiate with the employer, right? So these things happen, but I think that these are some of the things that we cannot cope as recruiters. No, now going back to your question of, are salaries negotiable? Yes, salaries are negotiable, but if an An organization tells you that we are offering between this amount to this amount, you as a candidate, now I'm speaking to candidates now, you as a candidate know within yourself what can work for me. If there's a range between, let's say for example, between 250 to 350, there's a range, which one works for me? Communicate what works for you from the beginning, maybe to the recruiter, especially if they are like outsourcing companies. Communicate what works for you from the beginning. Oh, that's fine. Between 250 to 350, right? Okay, 350 works for me. 250, and of course nobody will pick, if there is 250 to 350, nobody will pick 250, right? They will always pick the last part. 350 works for me, right? So if 350 works for you, fine. If you feel like you want to renegotiate with the recruiter that, oh, 350 doesn't work for me, can we up it to 400? And the recruiter gets back to you and say, I'm sorry, we cannot do that. The employer like clearly stated that only this is what is offering. Please do not now go there. If they now say, okay, go and meet the employer, take address, go and meet you, don't go there and now start renegotiating with the employer after you've been told already that this is the budget for the role. If you're not fine with the budget, don't go, right? Don't go, don't bother to go. And that is why I used to tell candidates, research the company, know if this company interviewing me, are they outsourcing companies or they are the company in themselves. Because one how do I put it now, one advantage for you if the company are the one hiring you directly is that you can still renegotiate with them during interview directly and say, this is what works for me. You can renegotiate with them, and directly during that interview they let you know if the negotiation works or not. But if it's an outsourcing company and you've been told, and you tell them that you want to renegotiate, they tell you, some outsourcing companies will tell you that, okay, when you meet the employer you can renegotiate. Some will tell you that no, this is what the employer says he has as his budget. If it works for you, fine. If it doesn't work for you, fine. I think last time we talked about renegotiation of salary, but then I think it's different today. It's different today because from the outsourcing perspective and also from the direct um, recruiting perspective. So if you are working as a candidate with an outsourcing company, research that company. I've seen candidates who jump on interviews and say, I don't know much about. I'm like, why will you join an interview and say you don't know much about the interview or the company? Don't say that. Try. Social media is your friend. Find that name on social media. Find that name. Find that name. Find it on LinkedIn. Put it on LinkedIn. You will see it there. Find that name on social media. Find them on Google. Anywhere. Just make sure you see that name there so that you'll be able to know if they are outsourcing companies or they are direct company. It's to your advantage, right? It's to your advantage. Okay, so we have about 4 minutes to close up. Naomi, do you have anything to say regarding your questions or just generally before we close?
Okay, I don't really have anything to say. You've treated everything well.
All right, then. Thank you so much. So, guys, this brings me back to what I wanted to tell you guys. All right, so a big news. The big news is, I think I've mentioned that big news for the whole of March. Happy New Month, guys, for tomorrow in advance. Happy New Month in advance. So for the whole of March, we will still continue with um question and answer, right? Because there's a trust me, there's a lot of questions and there's a lot of perspective on such questions. Yeah, the last time, last week, I was talking about different strokes for different folks. What works for A recruiter or recruiter A might not work for recruiter B, right? So we are bringing in different perspective. We are bringing in different people to come and speak with us, right? So there is for the throughout the month of March, we'll be having the Q&A session. So we'll be having recruiters join us as we have Naomi. Thank you so much, Naomi, for joining us today. Thank you for taking your time to share your perspective with us and also for asking us questions as well. So we'll be having more recruiters actually join us for each session and tell us about their perspective and answer our questions as well, right? So prepare your question, guys, for this series, this question and answer series, just a chat. So I'm moving on. Of course, I already mentioned that I'll be bringing tea. I'll be drinking tea during the session. So you can bring your tea, have your tea. It's going to be like a tea chat where we ask questions on recruitment, on hiring. So I'll be putting it on my page as well would be if you are interested in being a guest. So we are hiring job seekers as guests as well for each session. So if you are interested in being a guest on my podcast, you can reach out. Don't worry, I'm going to put it out there for us. So you can. There's a form to fill. We'll have your information, and we'll invite you. You'll be on a guest, just like you'll be a guest and be on the podcast, just like Naomi here. You'll be able to share your thoughts. You'll be able to share your perspectives. You'll be able to ask questions. You can gather questions from your friends, and you bring it here. You'll be able to ask questions, and we'll be able to just have a conversation and drink tea, and drink tea, of course. And so if you want to be a guest, of course, you would have to fill a form. I'm going to have to post that on my LinkedIn page during the week, right? I think that's one big news. And then secondly, we would have to change the timing. We have to change the timing. We know Saturday can be really, after you've had a stressful week. Saturday mornings are usually, you want to sleep over time and stuff, which is understandable. So we would have to consider changing our time to either evening. Thank God we have someone LinkedIn user. I still don't know your name. You have to reveal yourself. We have LinkedIn user just suggested evenings are better, so we can pick in between 5 to 7, right? So that we can have more people on this podcast. We can, they used to say that uh, pudding, when we have more people in it, but I've forgotten how they used to they put it. When we have more pudding, Naomi, do you know that adage when they say they have um, people in the pudding, it makes it
No,
sweet.
I don't do.
So if you have like more people in pudding, it makes it sweeter, something like that, that kind of thing. So when we have more people, it makes it sweeter. It makes the podcast more interesting. So would like a kind of situation where we have more people. So it means that we'll have to change the time and also the dates. So we used to have recruiters, or we usually have recruiters confession every Saturday. So we may need to also change to and last Saturday, first and last Saturday, so that it's going to be balanced, right? So first and last Saturday, we may need to change that and also change the time. We will definitely announce it on my page, definitely, so that you guys will know um the new flexibility. Of course, we have to be flexible both for ourselves and for people around us. So thank you so much, guys. It's just 45 minutes. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining the session. We'll definitely reach out via my page. I would reach out and let us know the new developments. Thank you so much, Naomi, as well, for joining us. Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you want to go back to your bed. Thank you so much, Naomi. Take care,
You're
everyone.
welcome. Thank you.